Today's video is going to be on keeping your chicks thriving. I recently talked to a lady at one of the stores, and she was a little bit concerned about purchasing day-old chicks from the store. Um, Reason being, she said that the survival rate was really low because there are things that you have to do when you get day old chicks. Now, I hatch my own chicks as well as purchasing some from the store. Hatching chicks is almost the same thing, with a few other steps and about about 4 weeks more, depending on what you are hatching, to the time limit. But I've seen there's a lot of people who want to purchase chicks but do not know how to do it. So that's what today's video is going to be about. It's going to be about how to keep your chicks thriving and to reduce the attrition of the amount of chicks that you have. When I purchase chicks from the store, I have not lost one. I have not lost not one. I have, however, had some chicks that passed away in the incubator, but it was very little. It was less than 10%. I say I may have, when I first started, I may have lost maybe 3 in the incubator. So, you know, I think I've gotten pretty good at it because I've been doing it for a while. And I understand that there's a lot of people who are afraid. They're fragile. Yeah, they're fragile, but they're not that fragile. So I put together a list to help everybody out because I want everybody to, because people are buying chicks. They're buying them. And I have had people approach me because they do not want day-old chicks. How you doing, Diary of a Fat Girl? Hi. There have been people who are afraid to buy these little chicks, and I'll pull one out for you because I bought some from the TSC, Tractor Supply Store. I don't know if they carry them anywhere. Yeah, they do carry them somewhere else in Austin, but I haven't went there yet. But this is closer to my house than the other store in Austin. And I also have some chicks that I hatched myself. Sorry, y'all. I'm in a tight space. So here's a chick, right? See how little it is? Every day this chick is going to get bigger, by the way. It was smaller when I got it. And the first thing you need to do is, first of all, when you get a chick that you purchase, make sure, isn't it cute? See that? Let me get closer. Make sure that you get it warm and you get it some water, second of all. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Let me put it back. So if you purchase chicks from the store, most likely they have already trained them to drink water. But make sure the first thing you do is go straight home. Don't stop at the supermarket, especially if it's cold. Don't stop at the supermarket. Don't stop anywhere. Go straight home with those chicks because they can dehydrate and that will cause them to be weak. And you don't want that. You want them to be as healthy as possible. You want them to be as healthy as they were when you got them from the store. Normally, because I've talked to store employees, I said, what do y'all do when they come in? They don't put those chicks out for about 24 hours when they come to the store. They don't just get them off the truck and set them out. They keep them in the back and see who's gonna make it and who's not, because they don't want people in the store walking by and there's a chick, like this. They don't want that. So what they do is they keep them in the back of the store for about 24 hours and see if there are any weaklings in there. Because if you order chicks, you're probably going to get some attrition. I've never ordered chicks online. I have, however, ordered eggs, and that's another story. I'll tell y'all that one other day. Not today, though, because it's going to make me mad. So I have ordered eggs, but I have never ordered chicks. And from what I understand, as soon as the post office gets those chicks in, you need to go and pick them up, or you're going to have you're going to have a huge attrition rate of chicks because they're going to dehydrate. Now, when chicks are first born, they can survive without food and water for about, and don't quote me, 3 days. What I do when my chicks hatch is I keep them in that incubator a minimum of 24 hours. I do not open the incubator. But let's go back to the store-bought stuff because I have a list here. I got organized today. So let's talk about store-bought chicks because that's where most people are going to get it. Right now, I saw them at Tractor Supply Store, and here in Austin, we have another place called Callahan's. They also have them. So at the store, the first thing okay, once you get it from the store, go straight home. Straight home. Don't stop. Get your chick feed while you're in the store because chick feed has 20% protein, and that's what I feed my chicks to keep them, happy. The layers feed is about, I think it's 18%. Chick feed has a higher protein rate, more protein than you would have for a hen, a laying hen. Go ahead and buy the chick feed, even if you buy a small bag for the first week or so. If you in the store, by the way, you can't just purchase one chick. Chicks are social animals, and if all fowl are actually, and I'm not going to say all fowl. Most of the domestic fowl are. If you purchase from TSC, then you have to get a minimum of 4 chicks. There's a difference between pullets and a straight run. Straight run is male and female. They are unsexed birds, and probability is 50-50, if not more, male. That means you're going to get a bunch of roosters. So if you want to take that chance, go ahead. They're half the price. They're half price because you're taking a huge risk of getting a bunch of roos. Pullets are supposedly all female, although there have been instances where someone made a mistake and a roo got in there. So pullets cost more, but they're worth it, especially if you can't have a rooster in your house. So that's the things you need to look for in the store. And the next thing you need to look for is, what do you want the birds for? Do you want them for eggs? Do you want the eggs to be green, blue, or brown? Because they in the store, at least at TSC, they tell you what color eggs it is, and as well as what the production rate of the eggs that you're going to get, because some chickens lay less eggs than others by about 100 each. So if you get a Rhode Island Red, most likely you're going to get over 300 eggs a year. That's just I say 320. Those jokers will lay and lay and lay. They're sort of like quail. Quail will lay up, I think, every day when they're young, because I haven't had these jokers stop since I started doing them. But I'll talk about that also later. So you want to get them home. You need to get a container, or find a container, or a box. This is just a tote. That's all this is. A 40-gallon tote. I had a 36, but I gave it to this lady who needed a brooder. When you get the tote, what I do is before I get the chicks, I don't do this after, because they're going to give you a little itty box, and you don't want to keep those chicks in there the least amount of time as possible. So when I get, let me pull you up. Can this stand go any higher? I don't know. All right. When I get the, hello, Miss Shirley OG Gardner. When I get the tote, I go ahead and drill holes in it. They need air. They need air in this box they need circulating air. You see these holes are pretty big, right? So if you get a box, especially if you have quail run hot. Do not fail to have airflow in there. So that's the first thing I do with the box. Actually, I recommend that you set up where the quail are going to stay before you get them. But if you don't, just find a box and stick some holes in it. Then I put some kind of bedding in the bottom, but that's besides the point. That's secondary. The main things you're going to need is a container to hold them in, and there's two different, so the chicks are different. Quail chicks are different than chicken chicks. Chicken chicks they're different. They're completely different. Quail chicks, after about a week, they're going to start popping straight up in the air. Miss Shirley, love that hat. It fits you. I made it. I made this hat. I just finished it. And I was like, oh, it matches my shirt. I'm going to put it on. So the quail chicks will start jumping straight up. So when you get the chicks home, have a container. If you don't have a container, get a box and stick some holes in it. It's called a brooder, right? So you're going to put the holes in there. What I do is I put some shavings in the bottom of the box. And as soon as I get them home, I take their little beak and I stick it in, and either I get a cap of water from one of my bottle tops, and I stick their face in the water. Food, I'm not worried about. I put the food out. They'll find the food. Trust me. When they get hungry, they'll start pecking around and figure out what's edible and what's not. But the water thing, so let me show you how it's done. If I could get my stand up. This is a new one. And I don't know. It's not working out for me. So let me put this right here. There we are. Move this chair closer so y'all can see inside the box. I didn't realize that there were so many people who were afraid to buy chicks until yesterday. So there's the holes in my box, right? And I have quail and chickens in here. Chicks, that is. So this, let me move the light so you can see. This is my heater. They go on, up and down this. If you don't have a heater, go ahead and get some light bulbs, some 60-watt light bulbs, and go ahead and put them in there, and that should heat them up a lot, or get a heat lamp. I don't like the heat lamps. These are all quail, by the way. All of these are quail up here. That's the difference between chicken chicks and quail chicks. Every now and then you get a chicken chick up there, but the quail, man, they're something else. They grow up fast. So here, if I could catch one. A chicken chick. Nah, let me get a quail. So you're going to catch your little chick, right? And you're going to take their little beak, right? And you're going to stick it in the water. If you have to, because quail are hard to handle. Put your finger around their head like that. And it's not exactly drowning them, but you want to see them smacking their lips. See how it's smacking its lips? That means it got water, right? That is the first thing you want to do. Now, this is a chick feeder, which means that the water level is lower than it would be in a regular feeder, although this one seems a little high. And once I do it to each one. Each chick I took and I stuck its beak in the water until they smack their lips. Let me close this up for the quail escape, because they will. They have that eye. You'll see it pop right out, and they'll be running around the house trying to catch them. Oh, man, and one already tried. One just tried. Just in time. Just in time. So you want to take their beaks and you want to stick it in water. The next thing you want, so water is the first thing. Heat is the second thing. Now, just like a baby, if something is wrong, they're going to start making a bunch of noise. Listen, you hear very little chirping, right? If they run out of water and if the heat goes out, they're going to start making a bunch of noise. A bunch of noise, and then they'll stop because, they're not alive anymore. But if you hear them crying, there's something wrong. Either they ran out of water or the heat's off, and they're cold. And if they're cold, what they'll do is they'll pile up in a little ball. They'll pile on top of each other and keep each other warm. So before I got this, you know what I used? I had a heat pad for my back, because I didn't have, I had a reptile heater, a reptile pad, and I had a heat pad for my back, and I put that heat pad for my back in I have an extra tub in the garage that I haven't gotten installed yet, and I put that on the bottom of that tub, and all the chicks just laid on it, and some of them were laying like this to keep themselves warm. Then I just put like a piece of teal or something on top, because I didn't know about this. I progressed over the years, because I've been doing this, I think 2 years now. I've been doing, and I've had chicks for two years now. If you don't have a heat pad for your back, because most of us do, if you don't have a heat pad for your back, well, this thing right here runs about $50. A heat pad, I think, is about $20. So all I did was put the cloth on there like a heating pad, and I just put it on the bottom, and I put the chicks on there where they felt their little feet get warm, and it saved me about, say, $30, and none of my chicks passed away. So heat is the second thing. So water is first, heat is in the second. Then you want to put food out. they'll find the food. Just put the food out. You don't have to have a tray. Just hello, passionately intrigued arts and more. How you doing? Welcome. So you don't have to get none of this stuff. You don't have to get any of the feeder or any of that. You can use a cap. You can get a cap of water, and you can go ahead and get a cap of food. With chicks, day old chicks, you could throw the food on the ground. Oh, you good? That wonderful, PIA. Welcome. So with the chicks, you want to put the water there. Now with quail chicks, if you get a cap of water, you need to put some rocks in there because the quail will drown themselves. So you have to put rocks, little pebbles in there. Go outside. That's what I do. I go outside and get some rocks from the landscaping, and I put it in a little cap, and I fill the thing with water with the rocks in there, and you'll see the quail walking across the rocks, and they'll drink water from inside the cap. That is after I dip their beaks in it. So you want water, then you want heat, bedding. I use pine chips. And you have to check your pine chips. Do not, so if it gets wet, you can get an ammonia smell in there after a while. So be careful. Always, every now and then I open this thing up so it airs out because there's humidity. You have heat in there, and then you have water, and that's why you have the ventilation on the top where you open it up so that they can get some air. If the bedding gets wet, remove it and put fresh bedding. Remove whatever's wet and put fresh bedding. I do the same thing with my chickens, but chicks especially. You can't have they can't be around a bunch of moisture, and because it turns into ammonia after a while, and you don't want that, and they'll get sick on you. So you got food, water, and that is about it in reference to keeping them alive. Because I mean, the girl was like, I don't buy day. I told her, well, she was asking me about chicks, right? And she says, well, I don't buy day old chicks because I never can keep them going. I can't do it. And I was like, wow, is it me? Or is it just that I've been lucky? Because I hatch my own. I hatch my own chicks. It's not hard. And I recommend that you all go and get some type of chick, whether it be quail. If you can't have chickens, go ahead and get some quail. And if you can have chickens, because most cities will allow you to have about 6. That seems like the going number. Go ahead and get them. I recommend you get them, and get pullets, because you don't want to, most cities won't let you have roosters because they're annoying. I agree. They're very annoying. So, all right. There's another thing that you can do. Let's go on to hatching your own eggs. Currently, if you buy, so people are selling their hens, and people, well, they're not really, because I checked Craigslist and most of that stuff is gone. Most of the hens are gone. I saw maybe one listing for hens for sale, and I think they were selling them for, they used to be $20 each. They're selling them for $35. They've went up. Laying hens. Eggs have went up. So eggs are out here in Texas are about $6, and that's the cheap ones. I haven't been thinking, PIA said, I haven't been thinking about it, but I'm in North cold weather state. You're in a cold weather state, get a chicken called a cochin. I'll go outside and show you them. Those are cold weather birds. I don't know why they sold me some cochins out here in Texas, because those jokers are cold weather birds. They have fur all the way down to their feet. They lay about, I say about 300, you have to, don't quote me, about 300 eggs a year. They don't lay a lot, but they lay enough. There are birds, by the way. Most birds can take cold weather, especially these quail. Quail seem to enjoy it. Quail run hot. Chickens run hot. I don't heat their coop. I just keep the wind from blowing on them. So there are people who have chickens in Alaska, and if they could have them there, they can have them anywhere. The only thing that they have to keep those birds is a shed or something to keep them out of the elements. The coops that I have out in the country, they're open air on the bottom. And the chickens, they just go up on top and roost on top. They do just fine. And when they're cold, they get real puffy, right? And they snuggle up against each other. Ooh, I just did what is that thing called? Centipede. I'm showing my age. So chickens can take cold. It has to be extremely cold. I haven't ever heard of anybody's chicken passing away because of cold. They pass away because of heat. They get heat stroke. That's when they get sick. So don't think that your climate is too cold. There are coops in Alaska. GT has chickens, but he has his in his garage, right? Well, most people don't. They put them in a shed. There are people who if you go and look, there are people who are up in the mountains who have chickens in a shed and they're doing just fine. So let me see if I missed anything. Diary of Fat Girl. Here in LA, eggs are $8 to $15. So they're ours is about what did they say? It was it $6.99 or $7.99? I forget. I went to Walmart yesterday and looked at it. I was like, ooh, that's a lot. I sell my eggs for $4. No wonder everybody buying my eggs. So what I wanted to get to next was if you can find somebody, Craigslist doesn't have any hens left in Texas where we have hens, and people who are selling hens are boosting up their prices because they can. $35 a hen, that's a lot. And it takes a lot to take care of these animals though, because I can understand that the feed is expensive. It's like $16 minimum, or unless you feed them table scraps. And if you have four hens, you can feed them. I'll tell you what I've been feeding, and I'm not the best person. I feed them meat. I feed them, I put eggshells in there because it makes the eggshells hard. I feed them meat, I feed them rice, I feed them leftovers. Anything I have left. Every check to make sure that it's not something that is poisonous to them. But you can feed them your scraps, your scraps. You don't have to buy feed. People say you can't do this and can't do that. There are certain foods that are toxic, and I would just ask Google or try to find out or get a listing of foods that are toxic to birds. But you don't have to spend money on feed. You don't have to do it. You just use your table scraps, the stuff you're going to throw in the trash. And you can feed them bugs. You can feed them anything. They eat bugs. That's what they normally eat. They forage around. They'll eat your vegetables. Don't put them in your garden. Oh, Lord. They'll eat all your vegetables. So I saw one person who was like, oh, yeah, just let my chickens run through the garden and they take care of all the bugs from you. They take care of the bugs and they'll eat your plants. Don't do it. Don't. I have videos of them jokers eating my plants. As a matter of fact, I give them plants all the time. Eggs are $17 a dozen. And Miss Shirley, go and get you a chicken. Pullets are running about $4.99. That's how much they cost for day-old chicks. $4.99. And you have to get a minimum of 4. So you're gonna spend $20 and then down. Let me tell you the difference between quail and chickens before I go on to hatch your own. Quail will start laying eggs in 7 weeks. Yep. And they lay every day. And if you scramble eggs, you cannot tell the difference between a quail egg and a chicken egg. Boiling, yeah, you're going to be able to tell the difference because the yolk of a quail egg is bigger than the yolk of it. Now the eggs are way smaller. Let me go and get one and show you the difference. The eggs are way smaller. However, if you scramble them up or if you put them in a jug and you make, if you know how you buy those jugs of egg batter, egg mixture, you could do that. Put it in your refrigerator. You're going to have too many quail eggs. I got about 3 days worth of quail eggs again. I just made some batter and I got a lot of quail eggs. I don't have as many chicken eggs because chickens, they lay quail lay every day. At week 7, you're going to see eggs start popping out all over. Now they'll lay all over their pen. They don't care where they lay. They're in the pen, so you're going to find them. But they say that quail eggs has more protein than chicken eggs. Yep. And more nutrients than chicken eggs. And they lay forever. They lay millions of little eggs. Oh, let me see what was going on. My stepdaughter came over with a dozen. She has chicken. People who have chickens and who have quail have a bunch of eggs. I had to throw some out. That's when I started saying, you know what, this doesn't make any sense. And I said, I gotta start. I started putting some and giving. So I gave some away to my neighbors. And I mean, I just don't like wasting, especially when they're running that expensive in the store. My one of my friends in Dallas, her husband went and got he's in panic mode. He got 48 eggs. And she was gonna give some away. And I said, girl, don't give those eggs away. Go ahead and freeze them. And then you can use them because it's only gonna get higher until I think until this summer. Hopefully they go back down. It's happened before. I remember standing in Wally World next to another guy, and we're both there like just staring at it because we didn't want to spend that much money on eggs. And he was like, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "They are taking advantage of us." But they say that there's some kind of bird flu going on, so that's another thing. People who have been ordering eggs cannot get eggs in because of that flu that's going around. The hatcheries are shutting down. So if you go to TSC and you find some eggs, because people aren't buying them because they're scared of day old chicks, which is why I came on today, because people are afraid to buy these little things. And all you need is this thing. I bought it at TSC. The same time I bought this chick is $15. Heating pad, what it's gonna cost me $20, so that's 45. Little waterer, you don't have to buy a water, you can use a cap, use what's in your house. The bedding, you could use whatever you have in your house for bedding. As a matter of fact, you don't have to use bedding. I recommend that you do. So a heating pad and the food is gonna run you around $22 if you buy the huge bag, which is way more than you're gonna need. So heating pad $20. This thing $15. That's what 35. And then the food another $20. So that's about what $45. I don't know. I think it's worth it, especially when eggs are so expensive. Then you don't have to rely on the supermarket for everything. Now I have quail, and the quail I got that little cage. I think that bought that cage for like $22 on the Amazing store. I was like, shoot, I'm not buying a quail hutches are expensive. Who's there? Gardening is great. How you doing? Welcome. You like my hat? Thank you. But if you know somebody who has chickens, because people were like, initially people who had chicken, they were like, something wrong with this chicken lady right there. Now nobody's saying anything. As a matter of fact, I'm afraid somebody. I got my dogs out there tonight because I'm afraid somebody's gonna come in and take a couple of them. I don't have that money out here, but anymore anyway. Think I'm down to about 6. I had too many. I had to downsize. But I mean, shoot. If you can have, most city ordinances have been changed where you can have your own little chickens, your little hens. If you can buy some chickens that are laying hens, go ahead and do that. Be careful because people will sell you a rooster. So make sure you check them out before you buy them. If you can buy some pullets, which are at the Tractor Supply store right now. Their chicks came in early. I don't know where they got them from because the hatcheries are not sending the stuff out. They're not doing it. So if you order online, who's to say you're gonna get them? And if you do get them, who's to say that they're gonna be healthy when they get there? Because they're going through the postal system, which is iffy, very iffy. So I wanted to talk to you guys about how to hatch your own chicks. Let's go over to the kitchen. Follow me. I got all my plants in here. Y'all know it's cold, and they are not going out until this place straightens up. Till I'm for sure, that they're not gonna perish. I'll put you over here. This thing is stiff. I just bought this thing. It's giving me the blues. I'm sorry, y'all. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, it's giving me the business. All right, man. I'm gonna have to put some WD-40 on it. So on here, I have 2 sets of eggs. This incubator runs about $30 now. It used to be cheaper. It's about $35 now. You're going to see one that says 45. You're going to see one that says 35. It's called a smart incubator, and it looks like a little dome, right? This thing has gotten a bad rap, right? There's a lot of bad reviews on it because when you buy this smart incubator, right, they don't tell you to put the styrofoam on it. Do not sit it directly on your countertop. The eggs will not hatch. They have to stay about 100 degrees on the bottom and the top. So that's how I do it. It looks like it's been packaging material, right? I put those in, and about day 10, I'll go ahead and candle it. I'll take a little flashlight, or I'll take my iPhone and I'll hold the egg up. And if the egg, you can see through the eggs when you put a flashlight on it. It's called candling the eggs because people used to use a candle. And if you see little veins running through the egg is developing. If you don't see anything, well, then that egg is no good. Don't eat it, just trash it. So there are two types of incubators you can have. I purchased these, but you don't have to buy an incubator. You can make an incubator. Go ahead and get some light bulbs. You know those light bulbs that we used to have? I don't know if y'all were poor like my family was, but we had some lights that you could plug into the outlet, and the light would hang down. It's kind of like those USB lights that we have. So I showed you the incubator that I use, and I get a good hatch rate. I'm up to the point where I'm getting like 12. I'm getting 12 for 12. Yeah, I got good at it because I refuse not to learn stuff. And after 2 years, you learn to work with stuff. I had to find out myself that you had to leave that styrofoam on, because I was like, why are they not hatching? Is something wrong with my eggs? Or because I was using my own flock. I was experimenting with my own flock because I said I'm not going to buy any. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just moving this thing around. I said I'm not going to buy any hatching eggs because I have chickens and I have roosters. I had a rooster. I had Mr. Bartrock. He's out in the country now. He's not gone. I like Mr. Bartrock. He's my friend. So I was like, Mr. Bartrock gonna do it. I see him doing his due. These eggs are fertile. And they weren't hatching. And that's because the bottom, they don't tell you to leave the styrofoam on that thing. You gotta leave the styrofoam on the bottom and put the thing on the top. It has to be encased in the packaging material. And another thing is that you see those bottles over there. Sorry, I'm going around again. I forgot something. You see this? They're empty. There is no water in here. None. You see that? There's no water in here. I do not put water in there. If it's quail, I don't put any water in there until day 15. If it's chickens, day 17. I don't put any water in there. None. None. It's called a dry hatch, but it's not really a dry hatch because I use water, but I don't put the water in until it's almost time for them to come out. Now, the reason why I put water in there at the end is because, especially with quail, their shells are really brittle. The humidity, as soon as I put water in there with chickens, as soon as at day 17, I put water in there with chickens, those chickens are going to hatch no later than day 20. All of them will be out. I mean, all of them. I don't have, if the egg is fertile, excuse me, if the egg is fertile, it's going to hatch. I don't get any attrition. I don't. And that thing rotates itself. I don't have to mess with it. And I put on the styrofoam, I take my little pen and I mark the date where I'm going to take the rotation device out because there's a rotator there. It automatically rotates. So with chickens, day 17, I take the rotation device out. And it's a little thing that goes in a circle. It rotates your eggs. So you take that out day 17, and then you put some water in the bottle, and the humidity tells the chick it's time to come out. Real simple. It took a while, and then you leave. Of course, you never take the styrofoam off until I start seeing popping out of the. Sometimes I walk by and I hear chirp, chirp, and I'm like, what? What is that? I have no chicks down here. And then they're in there. They've already come out of their shell. So that's the thing. So there was another guy, I gave him some hatching eggs because my eggs are fertile, especially out in the country. I got a bunch of roosters out there. I kind of feel bad for those hens because roosters are, Some of them are nice. Luckily, Mr. Bardock is in charge, and he's a nice rooster. So if there's a rude, terrible rooster that is tearing up the hens out there, he'll put them in this place. And after a while, I'll just get rid of the bad ones because you know, there's a thing called overbreeding. A rooster, with breeding, you're supposed to have about 4 hens to 1 rooster because roosters are oversexed, and some of them are mean enough to hurt your chicken. Your chickens won't have no hair on the back of its neck if it don't end up culling your hen, which you don't want. You gotta be careful. You can't just throw a hen in there with roosters. As a matter of fact, you can't even just throw a hen into the pen without incorporating it. When I put a new hen into that pen, I put the chicken, whatever, the hen or the rooster, in a cage in the coop with until they don't bother with it. Same thing with chicks. When I incorporate the chicks into the pen with the rest of the grown-up birds, I don't just let them go free. They will cull them. They don't like strangers. They don't like strange birds. You can tell when a strange bird gets in there. They'll start chasing them around, especially them turkeys. Chickens will cull a chick that they do not know. The reason why if a chicken hatches their own eggs, the chicks always stay close to the mother because the other chickens will go ahead and pick it up and toss it up in the air and it'll be gone. So if you have new chicks, do not just set them free with your flock. You have to put them in a pen and let all the rest of the chickens or birds get used to them. And I say about 2 weeks. Then you could let them go. Because otherwise you ain't gonna have no chicken. So hatching your own, you can use that kind of incubator or you can make one. Same kind of situation with this. I recommend you get a smaller tote than this. You put 2 light bulbs in there, a bowl of water, maybe some sand, and your eggs. Lay them out. And I haven't done this yet. I may do it as an experiment. There's a guy that I know that does it, and he says it works. It works just as well as that. The only difference is he has to go in there into this thing twice a day and turn the eggs. So with chickens, you're gonna leave them dry for 17 days. On day 17, you're gonna take the with the smart incubator or any incubator that has a rotation device in it. On day 17, you're gonna put water in the bottle or in the reservoir of the incubator, and you're gonna take the rotation device out on day 17 for chickens. For quail, on day 15, you do the same thing. Then I said keep them in the incubator once they hatch. So they're going to start hatching. Quail don't hatch as quickly as chickens. So don't think that you ain't going to get no quail. Because you were like, okay, it's day 3 and I don't see any quail coming out. And I put the water bottle in there. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It takes about 3 days for the quail to come out of their shell. And they are fighting because those shells are tough. So I say around day 19, you're going to see your quail come out. Day 21, you're going to see your chickens come out. Keep them in the incubator 24 hours until they're dried up. They're dried off and all puffy. Like you see how puffy they are now? That's what you want them to look like. You don't want any Fonzie look where they're all slicked back. You want them to be dry when they come out. So don't take any wet chicks out of there. Leave them in there for 24 hours. And if you take some chicks out there and you have some wet ones in there, take the dry ones out and leave the wet ones in there. Just close it back up and leave the wet ones in there. All right. Do not open the incubator. That's what I think a lot of people, that's where a lot of people mess up. Once they call it lockdown. Once you go into lockdown on day 17 for the chickens or day 15 for the quail, don't open that joker back up. And when they start hatching, don't open it up for about 24 hours because there are other chicks that all on the same cycle. There's chicks that's probably coming out of their shell. And if you open that humidity dome up, what it does is shrink wrap the inner layer of the shell to the chick, and the chick just passes away. So PIA, I came in late. Can you show me the chicks? Sure, I'll show you one. Oh, I'll show you all of them. There's quail and chicken chicks in here. Let's see. Here they are. And there is, this is a chick waterer right here, right? And these are both from Tractor Supply. This is the thing with this, you could just use a ball canning jar with the feeder. The water is the most important thing. Never, ever, ever, ever let them run out of water. Feed, there's feed all over this place because they take their feed and they throw it on the ground. And they're all under there. That, I just cleaned that thing, but they pooped on it. That is the heating device that I bought right here. And they go under here. I'll move the water out the way so y'all can see. Little quail. See that? They're all under there. They go under there to get warm, especially at nighttime. Don't you dare quail look like he's ready to jump. I have one straggler quail that hatched with a bunch of chickens, and I had to move it from the chicken area because they were bigger than that. They're actually gone now. I got rid of them. That was the one quail. So I was like, I can't put the quail in there with that quail in there with the other adult quails because they'll just pick on it, and I won't have it. That quail won't be alive. So I just keep it in there so it could be a part of that. I hatched, I think, 13 quail. So that's number 14. There's 14 quail in there. And one of the girls needed a box, a brooder box. So I gave her one of my smaller boxes, and I have to go and get another one. I don't have any other. I only had, actually I lost, I lost 3. One guy asked me, I don't have a box. Can you just lend it to me and I'll give it back to you? And I was like, he lives like in bee caves. I was like, that's far, by the way. So I don't know when I'm gonna get that one back. And then she needed one, and I was like, okay. Just go ahead and take this because you need a brooder. Because she was gonna put them outside. I said, you can't put these chickens outside yet. It's too cold. Wait till Sunday when it warms up because it's cold. It's like in the 20s at night. Let me see what she says. So that's the kind of light you were talking about. That's a USB light. I'm talking about a 60-watt bulb with a socket in order to make your incubator. Is that what you're asking about? You need a 60-watt light bulb with a socket, right, that you could plug into the wall, make a hole, not this as big as these holes, and put the light bulbs in there. I recommend you get a smaller box than this. And then you just put some sand or something that conducts heat on the bottom of the incubator with a bowl of water, so there's a little bit of humidity in there, and man, they hatch. It's an incubator. It's just like that, except it's more difficult. I can only do 12 eggs at a time. Excuse me. I can only do 12 chicken eggs at a time with that incubator. Quail eggs, I think I can do 28 eggs. And with quail eggs, I'm not having the success rate of fertilization. I'm like, these boys are slipping. They need to be doing their job. I get mad about it when they don't, when they're dud eggs. I get real mad. I'm like, what are they doing? What happened? But I got 13 last time. This in here, there's 13 that just hatched. The time before that, I think I got 11 or 12. I forget. And they're already outside. Quail mature in 7 weeks. You can put them outside in 7 weeks. Put them outside because they smell. They smell so bad. As a matter of fact, once these jokers get big enough, they going in the garage because they ain't going to be in my house smelling it up. I mean, chickens smell bad, but quail are worse. Quail are way worse. Just put them somewhere where they're warm. Keep them somewhere where they're warm once they get old enough, especially when they're 7 weeks. 7 weeks, quail could go outside. Hens, I'd say before 7 weeks, as soon as they're fully feathered, just like plants have baby leaves, you want to, once the chick is fully feathered, it's got its adult hair. You know, a baby has baby hair. You could tell. It's going to be all fuzzy initially like that. And then it's going to start getting straighter, or it's going to start getting feathers. You're going to start seeing less fuzz and more feathers. And it's going to be, they're probably not going to be the same color. Put those jokers outside. sometimes before then. If they start putting off any kind of aroma in your house, put them in the garage, somewhere you don't have to, where it doesn't affect your quality of living. I'm just speaking from experience, because initially I had quail and I was like, oh, poor babies. I'm going to go ahead and put them over there. And oh my God, find somewhere else. Just warning. And they put off a lot of dust also. So that's another thing. Let me see. Pat PIA said, so a female chicken needs another chicken to mate, or a rooster. They need a rooster. Chickens are a species. There are hens and roosters, or pullets and roos. So hens and rooster, you need a rooster. And a guy asked me this, yesterday? He said, why would I need a rooster? I said, roosters protect the flock. Roosters will see something and they make this sound. Let me see if I can make it. Like clearing their throat. And all the hens will take off and go under something. And sure enough, there'll be a hawk around. They see it. Hens always have their heads down. Roosters are always looking around. They're protectors. They're the male of the species. So I guess that's what they're grown to do. Although some roosters are meaner than others. All of them do that, but some of them just beat up your hens more than others. I had to get rid of 2 because they pull my what was they? They were Rhode Island Reds. Rhode Island Reds lay eggs almost every day, and they're brown. They're rusty brown. I didn't really like their color. Man, he pulled all the hair out of the top of 2 of their heads. He would not leave them alone. Actually, there was two roosters in there. I took them out to the country. As a matter of fact, they might end up in a pot because they're not nice. They're not nice. They beat up the hens. PIA, it's that big one. Is that big one a quail? Yeah, that's the quail that hatched with the chicks. It's actually still a chick. So it's in there with the chicks. I got to get another tote and take all of the quail out of here. Once I get it, I got to get another heater because I have quail and chicks in here. I have to get another heater, which should be coming today. And then I have to go to one of the stores and get another tote just to move the quail out of the way, away from the chicks. They could live together. Ebony and Ivory live together in perfect harmony. Oh yeah, that big one is a quail, but it was hatched with another set. Okay, just answer me. About the big bird. Yeah, that's a quail. I will go and get it, but it's mean as Methuselah. Let me see if I can get it. It's always on top, like of the overseer. So I'm gonna get it real quick. Right, jump down. Here it is. I hope this thing don't hop out of my hand. Now quail are very pretty. Aren't they cute? They're not nice birds. If you don't, well, they are nice in one way. They put out an egg every day. They're egg machines. After week 7, they put out an egg every day. And look how cute it is, right? Look at that face. You don't give this joker, you don't give this joker food and water. It will peck you. And it'll start beating each other up to the point of like Game of Thrones fighting in the arena. You will find quail. I haven't had this happen to me, but shoot, I got close. I have a hospital ward for quail. The only thing good about quail is that the difference between quail and the good part about quail is that you could put an adult quail with baby quail and they will not bother them. Don't try that with chickens. Chickens, they'll get them. Let me put this back. This is a baby quail. See that? That's a baby quail. Very small. I think it's about a week. They grow really quick. They grow quicker. You know how like that little kid in kindergarten that was smaller than everybody, then it comes the kid comes back on first grade and is bigger than everybody else. That's how quail are. They're real small. Matter of fact, they're about 1.5 inches when they're born, but they double in size every week until they get to about that size, and then they just start putting on weight. Trying to get a chicken for you. Here's a chicken chick. Don't ask me what type because I bought a bunch of different ones. See that? That's a chicken, much bigger. And this chicken, or this chick, pullet, hopefully it's a pullet, is about how many days old? I bought this it's about 5, 6 days old. See how much bigger it is than that quail? Now it's still small. See how little it is? I gotta hold it in one hand. Please don't jump down. But yeah, there we are. Very alert. Very alert. That's what you want them to look like. All right, let me see what else is going on in chat. The light that you said was old school, where you grew up. Well, old school, yeah, we were poor. So my mom, some of the rooms or the hallway, I think it was the hallway, didn't have a light in it. We had an apartment in Brooklyn, and it had this long hallway, and her bedroom was over here. My brother and I's bedrooms were over here, right? But the hallway didn't have a light. So there was an outlet. So it's just an overhead lamp light that you can plug into the wall and hang down. It's like this, except it runs into an outlet. Let me see if I can get my, y'all know I'm not a prepper. I'm not gonna claim that. It's like this, right? Except you plug it in the wall. It's the same thing. And you would need a 60-watt bulb. You can still buy those type. This is a USB. This is not the right one for incubator. This is a USB, but the one that you plug in the wall, you can it comes with it's a socket, and you just put your 60-watt light bulb in there, make a hole in your tote, put a bowl of water in there, and that's the old school way of making an incubator. There are videos on it. Most of them are not Americans. Let's see. Okay, so how much are roosters? Roosters, you'd probably get a rooster almost for free. When I'm trying to get rid of roosters, or anybody, they could go around $7. We want them gone. In my mind, if I cull a rooster, I'm losing money. If I can get rid of it and have someone buy it from me, I get $7. I don't ask for any more than that because I want to entice them to take it, especially if they want hens. I say, if you want some hens, I recommend you get a rooster if you're not living in city limits. Let me see. So quails just need a male and female quail to mate. Chickens too. They're both the same thing. They both need male and female in order for you to get fertilized eggs. If you just want eggs, you don't need a male. Just like a female, any female will release an egg. Just like we release an egg, whether we mate or not. Same thing with chickens. They'll still produce eggs. They just won't be fertilized eggs. Fertilized eggs is, you can only get fertilized eggs that can produce chicks if you have a male. So quails is, okay, gardening is great. I know what kind of light you're talking about. Like a shop light that a mechanics use, except the mechanic shop light has a cage over it. This one that we had didn't have no cage on it. It was just like that one I just showed you. And you just screwed the light bulb in and plugged it into a socket, and it provided light in a hallway that didn't have a overhead fixture in it. So that's what my mom used because she didn't want anybody to fall down and hurt themselves in the dark. The hallway was long. I remember, and you know, when you're a kid, things seem bigger than they actually. I remember being a kid being afraid to go down that hallway because it was just like dark. But she put a light bulb there, and she would turn it on at nighttime so that we could walk through the hallway and not, you know, be afraid of the dark, because there wasn't anything in the hallway. My mom was very neat. However, You know, we were little kids and we would see the, you know, boogeyman and stuff like that. We had very active imagination. Um, Passionately intrigued, Art said, okay. PIA, that's the kind of light I thought you were talking about. Yep. Gardening is great. No, without the cage. I had one without the cage. Yep, that's the one I'm talking about. Gardening is great. That is the one I'm talking about. The one without the cage. You just plug it in the water, the wall, the outlet, and it hangs down. And if you get a 60-watt light bulb, you can make an incubator with just this. Get two little 60-watt. The bigger it is, I recommend you get a smaller one than this. Put some sand in the bottom. You turn your eggs twice a day. Put a bowl of water and that light. Be careful with the light, by the way, because, you know, you don't want to fire. So I think I've covered everything. I'm just gonna go over my notes and make sure I didn't cover anything. So for store-bought chickens, you need a container to hold them. Dip their beak in water. Make sure you have water in there all the time. Get some heat. Make sure you have either a heat mat or something. Get some bedding and make sure you always have food and water. Passionately intrigued. All right. So I get it now. Chickens don't need a male to make, they don't need a male to make eggs. Neither do quail. They're still going to produce an egg. The reason why you would want any kind of male, because most of us don't want males. We don't want male roosters because they're loud and they're something else. Some of them are nice, but they do protect your flock. And if you want to start hatching eggs, you need a male. That's all you need them for, though. Albert Miranda, how you doing? Gardening is great. No, without okay. So I get it. Chickens don't need a male to make eggs. They can just produce eggs. Yes, they're gonna produce eggs no matter what. The difference between chicken and quail is quail are gonna start producing eggs around week 7, and chickens 5 to 6 months. That's how long it takes for them to start. You're almost surprised when they start producing eggs because they take a long time, which is why I recommend getting both. I would say get some quail because quail, I think people keep them around maybe 2 years. Same thing with hens. Hens slow down production in about 2 years. I got to look up quails to find out how long, because people don't keep quail around. Quail are delicious, by the way. It tastes better than chicken. Way better, in my opinion. Diary of a Fat Girl. Do you have to treat them for anything so they stay healthy? You can buy medicated feed. Also, every now and then with my hens and with my chicks, I put some apple cider vinegar in there, just a little bit. It cleans out their system. Just like it's good for us, it's very good. Get it together. Apple cider vinegar. What else did I buy? I bought 2 things yesterday because, I need that for my birds. I bought apple cider vinegar. And what else did I buy? I think that was it in reference to health. I know what I bought. So I bought apple cider vinegar and I bought a big old jar of garlic. Especially with weather like this, every now and then I take a scoop of garlic and I put it in their water. Apple cider vinegar, I do that all the time. I do that maybe every 2 weeks. I give them some apple cider vinegar with that garlic water. If anybody even looks like they're not feeling good, I'll go and get some garlic and oregano. Them two. Put it in their water. If they look like they're sick, mine don't look sick though, because I always give them the apple cider vinegar. The apple cider vinegar is preventative. Garlic and oregano is when they're already sick most of the time. So you don't want to get to that point. Just go ahead and give them that apple cider vinegar. Keep their immune system up so that they can withstand any of the viruses or the cold or whatever. Because even though people don't say it, even with us, gut, most of our most of the sicknesses that we get is because of our stomach. That's where it all starts, our digestive system. So if you could keep that intact, everything will be, you'll be just fine. You build your immune system by what you intake in your gut health. And a lot of doctors are saying that now. Same thing with chickens. You want to keep their system clean and not garlic. Garlic is for when that garlic is, a remedy. I take garlic when I go out there and buy stuff, or I go in these stores and talk to these people. I have garlic that I've been soaking in honey, and I'll come home and I'll scoop out one of those honey garlic, and I'll chew it and swallow it because I don't want to get sick. Just a moment, I have to drink some water. So you can also buy medicated feed, and I think they're coming out with immunizations for chickens. I don't know how expensive that's going to be. Then there's another thing called Vet RX. So if they do get sick or ill, you can use that. I've never used that, but there are things that you go to TSC or you can look it up online where you can treat your animals. I think the natural way, just giving them, building up their immune system so that they do not get sick. The thing is, with most of the diseases that these birds are getting, guess where they're getting it from? Well, it doesn't start with each other. It's those wild birds. Those wild birds. That's why, initially, I put the netting over my coop because we have hawks and falcons and, man, we got all kind of stuff out here. Eagles. I haven't seen an eagle in years, but we got all kind of birds of prey out here just waiting to swoop up either one of your chicks or one of your chickens. Even your animals you got to be careful with. So I got shade cloth. It's not even netting anymore because I didn't think that was good enough. I went and got shade cloth and covered their entire coop. So now all of those birds, most of the birds, cannot get into the coop. The wild birds are what's spreading the disease. They spread they're the ones spreading all of the diseases. So don't let them in. How do you do that? You put netting around your coop. Now, the only way a small finch or something can get through is through the chain link fence. And I haven't seen a lot of them around. It's wintertime, so I guess they're gone somewhere else. But I don't like wild birds. I don't like them being in my coop at all. I don't want, and they're, in the summertime, the finches come in and they want some water because it's super hot here in Texas, and I'll see them drinking the chicken's water, and I shoo them off. And I fuss at my chickens saying, y'all fight with each other over stuff. Why are you letting these finches in? Because they carry diseases, and that's how it's going around. There's a lot of people who think that that it's, how did the chicken get sick? Wild birds. Or it came from an industrial setting of birds. It could be that. Could be that. I think it's the wild birds that's spreading it because it's spreading too fast. There's nothing you can do about it. So anyone whose immune system is compromised, they're gonna get it. Any birds whose system is low, they're gonna pick it up because they can't fight off the disease. Which is why you put vinegar, brown apple cider vinegar in their water. I put it in every 2 weeks, just for gut health. So let's see. Gardening is great. Jamerica, you're old school. My grandmother used to keep garlic water in a jar with a lid to drink. One of my friends used to do that. But I have the garlic honey. I submerge garlic in honey. And I don't like garlic. And my stomach hurts if I eat fresh garlic. It burns my stomach. I tried. Because one of my friends, she drinks garlic water. She did. Did she get? Yeah, she did. But she didn't stay, when she got sick, she didn't stay sick long, maybe a day or two. And it was very light, very light. I soak garlic in honey. And anytime I go out that door and come back in here, scoop right away. Either that, or if I can't get home, I carry airborne in my purse. Same thing with your birds. If one of my birds gets super sick, I give them a honey from garlic infused honey. I give them a scoop of that or a syringe of that. Put it down there because I'll be like, I struggle too much with these birds for them to just pass away. By the way, if you get a sick bird, quarantine them. Don't keep them with the rest of your flock. Take them out of there. Find somewhere else to put them. Gardening is great. We would laugh. We were kids. She told us, just keep living. Yeah, she was right. The main thing is to keep your system straight, and to keep your bird system straight. That I went on a diet once, and they told me to take B12. Was it B12? And I know it was vinegar. That thing was so nasty. I forget what else. Oh, and natural cranberry juice, which has no sugar in it. Every morning I had to drink a cup of that, and oh my God, it was like torture. But you know what? I didn't get sick. The whole time I was on that diet plan and doing that, B12, apple cider vinegar, and natural cranberry juice, which was awful. It was awful. It was like it was like torturing myself every morning. But I didn't get sick. So if you keep your stomach straight, if you keep your bird's stomach straight and their system clean as possible, there's nowhere for the bacteria to grow. The bacteria doesn't like that stuff, apparently. So I've covered everything. I think, hatch your own. You could do an incubator, either homemade or a purchased one. If you want to do the homemade one, there are videos, because I found them, on homemade incubators. And it's very simple. You're going to get mad because those things, they're raising the prices of the incubators now that they know everybody wants chickens. Let's see, hatch your own incubator, homemade or purchase one. Chickens, keep them dry for 17 days, then add water, remove that thing out the thing. Quail, keep them dry for 15 days and then remove the rotation thing. And then once they hatch, keep them in the incubator a minimum of 24 hours. Do not open the incubator, especially if other ones are hatching. You could go over, I think, how many hours? I think 36 hours they can be in there without any food or water. Once a chick has had water, that's when they have to have water. But before then, they could survive for that's how they survive shipping, because they don't need water. Because when they hatch, they put them in a box and they ship them out. They don't give them any water, because once you give them water, then the chick needs water to survive. So they could be in there 3 days. And then once they dry, move them to the brooder, which is this cheap little thing that I bought. You don't have to buy anything expensive. And then store-bought store-bought chick feed. Okay. And a little bit of vinegar. So things to keep in the house for chickens, just as a side note, keep some apple cider vinegar. Give it to them every now and then. Keep a big old jar of that cheap old garlic that we could buy from the big box store or whatever, the cut up ones, so you don't have to do it yourself. Or you could cut up fresh garlic. It's up to you. Keep that and some oregano. If before your birds get sick, don't let them get sick. Keep on giving them apple cider vinegar every 2 weeks, if not more. If they do show signs of somebody being lethargic, go ahead and give them some garlic mixed with oregano water. Make them drink that. They'll have to drink it. They don't have a choice. They don't like it. I don't think chickens can taste. Some people say give them some hot pepper too, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I know that pepper treats pain. My mom says it has capsaicin in it, but I don't know. Anyway, I've been on for a while. I put out the information that I wanted to put out. My chicks are doing super well as usual. I've gotten kind of good, really good at hatching. And once they hatch, I have not had any No, I did have one casualty, but it was because I was on vacation. I came back and the chick had passed away. I think I had one casualty of a live chick. That's it. Because I'm watching these jokers like a hawk. If I see something that don't look right, if they get stuck, in between stuff and whatnot, that's what really gets them sometimes. Or some of them are just born weak. So there's nothing you can do about that. I thank everybody for being with me. I thank you, PIA. And I will see you on the next one. I hope you all go ahead and get some chicks. people are buying them up, and some people don't want to buy them because they're afraid they're gonna pass away. Don't be one of those people. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, bye.